The Right Side with Doug Billings.
Hi, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to The Right Side with Doug Billings. Thanks for joining us from across the Republic, from sea to shining sea. Thank you for being here. I am coming to you from smack dab in the middle of the fruited plain, as I always do, where we're fighting to restore faith, freedom, the American way, and create again the America built on the shining city on the hill. If you're new to the show, welcome. You're going to find a dose of reality. You're going to see where we battle the intellectual immaturity of liberals everywhere, and where those who watch this program become members of the most intellectually mature audience in all of podcast land. Ladies and gentlemen, we are here, I am, to speak boldly, to stand firm, and to deliver what's right, what's truthful. So buckle up, because today we're going to talk right about this firestorm surrounding President Trump and the Epstein case. We're going to set the record straight. We're going to rally the faithful, remind everybody that we can't throw the baby out with the bathwater, ladies and gentlemen. The Right Side with Doug Billings is now upon you. Are you ready? Let's go.
Hey everybody, my name is General Mike Flynn, and I'm here to do a big shout out for my great friend and one of the best in the business, Mr. Doug Billings. Right Side with Doug Billings, Right Side with Doug Billings. Doug is the future of the airwaves when it comes to independent broadcasters and podcasters. He is the new Rush Limbaugh. He's exactly what America needs right now, looking for honesty, looking for wisdom, looking for truth, looking for patriotism. Listen to Doug Billings at Right Side with Doug Billings. God bless you and God bless America, and thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are winning. We're winning, winning, winning. Welcome to The Right Side with Doug Billings. Are you ready?
We are not liberal snowflakes who melt away in the face of tragedy, adversity, and challenge. We are a covenant nation under God, and His divine providence is not dead and it's not gone. It is living within each and every one of you. And you will bring it to life in such a way that the world has never seen before. We never back down. We never give up. We march forward.
Okay, hi, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to The Right Side with Doug Billings. Don't forget, if you like me, if you like the show, if you want access to the truth for free, head over to my website and support me, DougBillings.us, www, in case you're from Raytown, Missouri, www.DougBillingsus, www.DougBillings.us, ladies and gentlemen. And a disclaimer, this show has absolutely nothing to do with my run for Kansas governor. So if you've been with me for the past 5 years, ladies and gentlemen, you have supported me, and I appreciate that. You, through sharing of this program, sharing the link to the program, whether it's on YouTube, Rumble, Facebook, X, or TikTok, or Instagram, or wherever you see clips of the show, thank you very much. DougBillings.us is the place where you need to go to set up a monthly recurring donation so that I can continue to bring you the show for free. You never have to pay a dime to either watch or listen to this program. It has been that way since day one, but your call to action is simple. I do need your help to continue to support the show and produce it. So DougBillings.us is where you should go. Donate whatever you can. And any free will offering that you think the truth is worth, because we bring it to you every show that I give you. Ladies and gentlemen, I have had the honor of meeting President Trump twice, once at his winter home in Mar-a-Lago and once in his summer home up in New Jersey at Bedminster. When you're in the room with that man, you feel the energy, you feel the conviction. There's an unrelenting passion to put America first. And you know what else is there that you don't often see reflected in the media? There's a joy there. There's a happiness within him. He loves what he's doing. And it's incredible because, especially when you consider what he's been through, what the lawfare against him has put him through, what the radical fake news liberal media has put him through, still there is this unquenchable joy and happiness within him. And I'm telling you the truth. It is absolutely palpable. There is an obvious happiness and joy about him, and it makes you feel good to see it. He laughs, he jokes, he listens, He's funny. He looks you right in the eye. Folks, he uses his iPad to play the role of disc jockey and plays all of the music during dinner and the after-dinner gatherings that are at Mar-a-Lago and at Bedminster. It's absolutely incredible. So he's not just a politician. He's a patriot. He's a warrior. He's a leader who's done more to make America great again than arguably since any president since George Washington himself. Clearly the most substantial president of the modern era. You think about that for a minute. Tax cuts that put money back into our pockets, energy independence that broke the chains of foreign dependency upon oil, a border that has been now closed down, 0 illegal border crossings. Phenomenal. It's absolutely phenomenal. And then you have a foreign policy that has made our enemies think twice to come to the table. This is a man who took on the deep state, the fake news media, the lawfare waged against through our justice system, the globalist elites, Klaus Schwab, Johann Noel Ferrari, and all of those kooks, and he's still standing tall. But right now, there's a storm brewing all around him. You all have heard about it. And some of our MAGA friends and our MAGA movement are all rattled and bothered by this. And, of course, I'm talking about the Jeffrey Epstein case. It's all over the news. It's all over X. It's causing a commotion within our movement, and I want to talk about it tonight. And some of you are upset, saying that Trump and his administration isn't doing enough with regards to this. He isn't releasing the so-called clients list, or he's not being transparent. All of these accusations, all of these things coming down in waves and avalanche. One of the things that we as conservatives do is panic, I think, quite easily, and we tend to feed upon our own and not stay together in times of adversity, challenge, and tragedy. And that's really to our regret. Look, I hear you. I feel the frustration. But tonight I'm here to deliver a message. Don't let this one issue tear us apart. Don't let the noise drown out the signal. As I said, don't throw out the baby with the bathwater, because President Trump is still the most consequential leader that this country has ever had in the modern era, perhaps ever. And we need him. And folks, we need each other to keep this fight going. We're not done yet. We have got so much to accomplish. I don't want anybody to default to the negative. Well, there it is. You can kiss the midterm elections goodbye now. Thank you very much. It's done. If he said this about the client list with Epstein, it's all over. Folks, we've got to give yourselves permission to exercise that demon out of you, that demon of hopelessness. That's a real spiritual attack going on. And it's not true. We have not surrendered the midterms yet. We have not caused an end to our MAGA movement. Not yet, not unless we buckle up, fold up tents, and hike out of here. But we're not going to do that, because conservatives, when it comes down to the brass tacks, we are the ones who understand that we have to work our way through tragedy, adversity, and challenge in order to find the blessings that reside there all along. And the blessing that we are after is to make America first again, to retrieve the intent of the Founding Fathers and to retrieve the intent of the divine providence of God. That's what we're after. And it's not going to be easy. We didn't get in. I've said this a million times. We have not gotten into this predicament overnight. We're not going to get out of it overnight. And the Epstein list is not going to prevent us from the ultimate victory. The Epstein case is a sordid, ugly mess. Jeffrey Epstein was a monster, a convicted sex offender who preyed upon the innocent. No doubt about it. His crimes were vile. His death in 2019, which was ruled a suicide by the medical examiner, it sparked a firestorm of speculation. You all have seen it, perhaps even been part of it. But you've got folks on X now and other social media platforms, some of our own MAGA influencers, that are all shouting about the client list as if it is the one thing that could unravel everything that Trump has accomplished. Conspiracies, cover-ups. They're pointing fingers at Attorney General Pam Bondi, at FBI Director Kash Patel, at Deputy Director Dan Bongino. They're saying, where's the transparency? Where's the truth? Folks, I get it. I mean, I understand that, but take a deep breath. We've been burned before by a government that hides things. I get it. A government that protects the powerful. That's from the communist socialist, formerly known as Democrat, left side of the aisle, by the way. We've got a right to be skeptical. I understand it. But there's the truth that lies within all of this, and I'm going to lay it out plainly and simply for you. The Justice Department, under Trump's leadership, reviewed the Epstein case. Now, right away, you have a demon named cynicism who perches on your shoulder, and he says, oh, yeah, sure, they really looked into it, didn't they? Don't let Billings fool you. Nobody looked into anything thoroughly enough. If they did, we'd have the list by now. That's the demon of cynicism perched on many people throughout this republic. They released hours of footage, the Trump administration did. They dug through the files, and what did they find? Apparently not a client list. No evidence of blackmail. No proof that Epstein was murdered. Now, I know some of you are saying, Doug, but how can we trust that after all we've been through? We've been caused to mistrust the government by the swamp, the deep state, the radical left communist socialist, formerly known as Democrat Party. That's who has caused the mistrust in our nation. It has not been the result of anything that President Trump has done. After decades of government lies, I understand it's natural to question things, but let's look at the facts. This is President Trump's Justice Department. Point A. This is a man who's been fighting the deep state since day one, since he came down the golden escalator at Trump Tower. The same man who pardoned my friend General Michael Flynn. The same man who exposed the Russia hoax. The same man who has called out the fake news at every turn along the way. Do we really think that he's the one covering up for Epstein or the list or anybody else? Come on, patriots. Let's think for a moment. The same people who've been trying to tear Trump down for years, again, the radical left, the fake news media, the lawfare the lawfare court system, they're the ones fanning these flames. They want to divide us. They want to turn MAGA against MAGA. They want us fighting each other instead of fighting for America. This is not only classical liberal politics, this is classical Satanism. This is classical spiritual warfare to divide and conquer us, to divide and conquer the people who have the intent of the divine providence of God and the founding fathers at heart. And I'm telling you now, we're not going to let them win. President Trump himself said it on Truth Social. The Epstein thing is a hoax. It's peddled by the Democrats to discredit him. Why suddenly do we all of a sudden disagree or not believe him? And you know what? I believe Trump because I've seen him fight. I've seen him take the slings and the arrows for all of us. And I've seen him deliver results that no other president could do. Now let's talk about Pam Bondi. Just for a minute, she's taken a lot of heat, whether you like her or not. I'm just saying, some of our influencers, good people and patriots like Laura Loomer, the Hodge twins, Liz Wheeler, they're calling for her to step down. And they're not the only ones. They're upset because she said back in February that the Epstein quote-unquote client list was on her desk. And now the Department of Justice says there is no such list. So look, I'm not here to defend every word that Pam Bondi says. Maybe she misspoke. Maybe she got caught up in the heat of the moment. I have a friend, Chad Prather, who a good brother of mine, and he's endorsed me on many topics and at many levels for my campaign for governor, which is not related to this show. Chad thinks he got played. He and other influencers were invited to the Oval Office earlier after Trump won. Was given the Epstein file, and it was kind of a big nothing burger. So I get it, but let's not forget that Bondi is part of Trump's team. She's working under his directive, ladies and gentlemen. And Trump himself is defending her, saying she's doing a fantastic job. I know the demon of cynicism is there. Well, he has to say that, Doug. The president is not going to come out and just crucify her in public. Really? Trump has never done that before? Come on. If somebody does something wrong and screws up, Trump's the first one to throw him out. If the man that we trust to lead this nation trusts Pam Bondi, shouldn't we at least give her the benefit of the doubt for now? Here's the bigger picture, folks. The Epstein case is a distraction. It's a shiny object. Squirrel, shiny thing. What? Where? Who? It's to pull our focus away from the real fight. Because think about what Trump is doing right now. He's putting a massive tax and spending bill in place to put more money into our pockets. He's seeing our border closed down to 100% closure. The strongest immigration policies in our history. He's bringing manufacturing back to America. He's making us energy independent again. He's making trade deals that put America first. That's the grand scheme of things going on here. And of course, the radical left and some members of the swamp, even on our side, the rhinos, want the shiny object of the Epstein distraction to take our minds away from all of this and cause a big fight internally. This is what makes Trump the most substantial president of the modern era. All of those things I just mentioned and more. One case, one controversy doesn't erase that legacy. It doesn't undo a fact that he's fighting for you. He's fighting for the farmers of Kansas. He's fighting for workers in Ohio. He's fighting for families across this entire republic, ladies and gentlemen. And let's talk about numbers just for a minute, all right? Because the facts don't lie. Under President Trump's first term from 2017 to 2021, he delivered results that reshaped America. According to the Bureau of Economic Analysis, the economy grew at an average rate of 2.5% per year before the COVID nonsense hit us, with 7 million new jobs created. Unemployment, it was basically at a statistical zero. Got as low as 2.5%, overall 6.7% for Black Americans, 5.9% for Hispanics, numbers we had not seen in decades or perhaps ever. The Tax Cut and Job Act of 2017 put $3.2 trillion back into the pockets of American families and businesses. That's all according to the IRS. That's money you kept, not the bureaucrats in Washington. Energy, Trump made us a net exporter of oil for the first time in 70 years, according to the Energy Information Administration. We're pumping 12.3 million barrels a day by 2019, breaking the chains of foreign dependency on energy. National security, we've never been more safe. There's a lot of risks thanks to the Biden, Administrator Biden, Vice Pretender Harris. They let a lot of bad actors into this country. So yes, there is a risk that those bad actors will act out in some terrible ways. But he has rebuilt our military, Trump has, with $2.5 trillion in investments. He's modernized the VA. He took out ISIS, destroyed its leadership, and made us safer in general. On the border, again, 460 miles of wall went up. Illegal crossings are now basically, for all intent and purposes, zero. And we are putting an end to those who are here illegally. And let's not forget trade. I mentioned it briefly. Trump renegotiated NAFTA into the USMCA, saving American farmers, American manufacturers, business owners, and he slapped tariffs on China and told them that you're going to be accountable for not only stealing our jobs and our technology, but for smothering the economy. So now in his second term, he's not slowing down. If anything, he's moving more quickly because he knows the game now. He's pushing a massive tax and spending bill to cut government waste. It's now law. The big, beautiful bill is now a big, beautiful law. And he's going to put money back into our pockets. He's signed executive orders to secure the borders tighter than ever. Deportations up 70% within the first 100 days alone. According to ICE reports, we've never been able to find more people. And people are self-deporting. This is the good news because they're getting a deal. They're getting a flight out, and they're getting the ability to come back in to get in front of the line and do it right. He's bringing manufacturing back. Companies like TSMC and Intel having huge boosts in because they've got new factories in Ohio and in Arizona. And those are just a couple of the stories. He's standing up to China with new tariffs. It all protects American workers. The nonsense about the tariffs in the beginning are simply more radical left communist socialist battle cries of terror because they see themselves becoming irrelevant in Trump's beautiful success. That's leadership. That's results. That's why Trump is the most consequential president of the modern era, my friends. Now, I know, some of you are still fired up about Epstein. You want answers. You want justice. I'm with you. Look, as a Catholic, as a patriot, as a father, as a candidate, I want to see every single person involved in Epstein's crime circle brought to justice. That's why I have pushed for 5 years for legislation in the fight against human trafficking. Michelle Peterson's going to be on my show next week to talk about that topic. We need to be declaring war on that pure evil. War. Protecting our children, protecting our communities and our values, because human trafficking happens in every zip code in this country, ladies and gentlemen. I don't care how rural that zip code is, child and human trafficking happens there, and it happens everywhere. But we can't let this one issue fracture our movement. We can't let it tear us away from the man who's leading the charge for America's soul, who's rebranding the conservative movement in this country, in this republic. So here's my plea to you, ladies and gentlemen. President Trump is not the enemy here. He's not hiding anything. Look, anything that anybody attempted to be hidden about Epstein would have been discovered long ago, folks. Are you kidding me? If there was anything nefarious, it would have been put out long ago. He's the man who's been fighting for us against impossible odds. I know a thing or two about lawfare. I've been the victim of lawfare. Trump has had massive amounts of it aimed at him. If you're upset about Epstein, channel that energy. Post your feelings. I want to hear about them. Comment on them in the comments wherever you're watching or listening to this program today. I want to know your comments, your thoughts. Post them here. That's how you channel your energy, not towards the president. Share your thoughts. Speak openly and candidly, but don't turn on Trump. And ladies and gentlemen, don't turn on each other. Stay united. Stay focused. We didn't get here overnight. We're not going to get out of it overnight. There will be bumps in the road. We can't get everything that we want. And remember, if you want to make a real difference, if you want to make a difference in supporting this program so that the truth continues to get out, please head over to DougBillings.us. DougBillings.us. Donate, spread the word. Set up a monthly reoccurring donation over there so I can continue this program to deliver the truth. I never charge you for it. That's your call to action, DougBillings.us. Because together we can make our republic that rebranded bastion of MAGA, traditional American values, that stands shoulder to shoulder with President Trump. We're at a crossroads here, folks. The radical left, the devil himself, they want us divided. They want us distracted. They want us to forget the victories that we've won under Trump's leadership. But I say, not on our watch, my friends. Not in America. We're going to stand with President Trump. We're going to fight for our faith, for our freedom, for the future of our children, and we're going to make America great again. We're going to continue on the path. And so before I wrap up, let me leave you with this. I am a man of faith, my friends. I believe in the divine providence of God. I like and believe in the intent of our founding fathers. And I believe God has raised up Donald Trump for such a time as this. He's not perfect. No one is. And he is not the quote-unquote savior of this republic. We, the people, are that. We are the saviors of this republic. That's what the divine providence of God and the intent of the founding fathers outlined in our founding documents. So let's pray for President Trump. Let's pray for our nation. And let's keep fighting the good fight so that the divine providence of God and the original and truthful intent of the Founding Fathers resurfaces throughout this republic in the work of we the people. All right, folks, that's it for today. Thank you very much for watching. I do appreciate you. And remember, head over to DougBillings.us, set up a monthly recurring donation over there, $5, $10, $20, $100 if you got it. But that's how we continue the show. It's your call to action, DougBillings.us, to join the right side movement, to stand up for the country, for the republic. Follow me, too. Follow me on X, on Truth Social, Facebook, TikTok, wherever you're watching or listening to this program. We are on all of the podcast channels, the audio and the video. Together, we're going to make America great again. Together, we're going to win. We're not going to be distracted by the shiny object of the Epstein case. We're in this together, folks. Believe it. For the republic. God bless you. Cheers.
The Right Side with Doug Billings.